So IBeK has an idea for how we can create a mobile app for THORChain. And we could do something on Android. Is it APK or SDK file? Where APK. And basically people can share it peer to peer. You don't even need the app store. And any Android phone can run it. And so it'd be kind of like, like having a downloadable desktop app on your computer where you can just, you own it. It's your app, your program, you do what you want. Um, we could do that on Android and a swap interface for THORChain. And to keep it simple, you just do memoless. And yeah, maybe
I would
so
100% use it. I would
I'll,
100% use that.
I'll let IBeK run with it. It's your idea, IBeK. Did I explain it properly? Do you want to add any more color to it?
No, you did it pretty well. I think there was some kind of well feedback, I would say, on Twitter, or I saw it. Yeah, I might have even forwarded that to you, that where people were discussing different ways to decentralize the website, right? Like how you can actually make it decentralized. And when we talked, we kind of agreed that, well, we are not the first to actually talk about it. And I think like back in 2020, a lot of people were trying to find ways to do that. And projects like IPFS came really as a result of that. But long story short, there is no easy way to do that now. And more of the practical ways to kind of do that. First is to release a software where that anyone can download and install. But that would mean that people cannot really lose that seamless way of just typing a website and yeah, they have to install something, right? So, and the second one is to use a mobile app. And when it comes to mobile, specifically Android, Android, because iOS doesn't let you. Well, with the exception of some minor some minor exceptions, they don't let you install apps from the outside of App Store. Android, if you have an APK file, an install file, let's say app file, you can send it to anyone over your messenger, over the email, and people can install it. So it's like a common ways. I mean, Telegram, I think, used that strategy to distribute their apps in places where it was banned. Yeah, and there are like a number of places where I cannot be 100% true, like sure about that right now because it's been a while. But at some point they were not accessible in China, and but at the same time, China is one of the biggest user bases they have. So how is that possible? Well, it's because people download and share APK file directly, so you can kind of
so
access Telegram.
does would a phone have to be jailbroken in order for someone to use this file? So
It
even
just has to
if
be
it
Android. That's it.
has to be Android, because that's
Mhm.
probably in the West. A lot of people buy their phones from the phone carrier and they're locked, and so they'll be able to do it too.
Yeah, yeah. It's a setting in the operating system where you kind of put a check mark that you kind of give permission to your operating system to install apps from external sources. Yeah.
We got let me just see here. According to Coke, that's what you do. Um, well, yeah, Denny, you jumped on this pretty quick. You'd use it, hey? Um, you're muted, buddy.
1000%. Yeah, I 1000%. Maybe this makes me I don't own Apple products. I did it a few
Uh,
times. I just,
Screw
I
Apple.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't like but the thing is my family had Apple products and the whole battery thing. I don't know if it's still a thing, but they do an update and the battery would just die. And I was like, okay, like I don't have this problem. So I'm not doing Apple. I don't know. So yes, 100% I would use it. I would use it today. 100%. The mobile is I have my desktop application. That's primarily how I do things. I use Voltisig, right? But if I had a phone redundancy, that would be so beautiful, right? And you could also, Mocha is gonna have something like this, but imagine if you had like I mean, if you had like ability to go to a store and pay with them, I mean, there's so many things to unlock. I know we want to keep it real simple. My mind just kind of blows up with ideas, but 100%, 100%. It's nice to have your just something on your phone where you just go boop, 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 boop. And you have multi-sig too, but that requires multiple devices, right? But for a little spending cash, absolutely 100%. Give it to me, IBeK. I want it, IBeK. Make it IBeK.
Well,
Yeah,
when he
Kenton should tell us to make
I
it.
know.
I mean, I'm on board. It's just first off, let me
Priorities.
bring something else up. When we're talking, IBeK and I were talking about it. I asked him like, well, what about an actual THORChain wallet? Like, could we, fork the Unstoppable wallet and slap the THORChain brand on it? And you said yes. You're like, yeah, we can totally do that. But if we do that, then now we have a wallet we have to maintain and update. And, so anytime a new chain is added to THORChain, we get to add that chain to the wallet. And so it's just another product, another thing we have to manage and maintain. And even though, I'm pretty excited for, developments on THORChain lately, feels like there's a new fresh energy in the ecosystem, and everyone's kind of moving forward and working hard. We're still limited on resources, right? People and money. So like, I think THORChain building its own wallet right now is maybe a bit too big of a mouthful. Um, and to be honest, with memoless, well, memoless would be way easier. It'd be a much cleaner, lighter app, way easier to roll out. So we get out faster, be done, much less maintenance to keep it going. But it also would really, you know, nobody wants a new wallet. How many wallets do we all have, right? We're all getting oversaturated with all these different wallets we have. This would empower people to not have to download a new wallet, get a new seed phrase, all that stuff, right? They can use their existing wallets. And so we kind of force them to use memoless and you get used to it and understand it. And then hopefully it's an easier sell that people are like, hey, this THORChain app, you don't need a new wallet. You just do this QR code thing and keep your existing wallet. It's super slick. Maybe that's how it helps it scale. So it could be win-win, that it's easy, quick to do, easy to maintain, and maybe it actually gets adopted better, quicker. So, well, IBeK, so if we did that, can you, and I forget if you told me, how long do you think it would actually take to build an app like this, to get it out, to get it live?
Well,
Yeah.
if you're thinking just the memoless, well, it's fast because we have pretty much everything there already. It's just a matter of forking and removing parts which are not necessary. Well, maybe a week or two probably, just like a week to do it and a week to test it. On the other hand, if you're like introducing the idea of the actual wallet, well, then it becomes significantly harder. And I would agree with you. I wouldn't do it unless you have a really strong demand to do it from a community, because, well, then it's more work than S2O for sure, because you have two platforms. And also, with S2O, you have things like you have a bug, you fix it instantly, right? If it's an app, you have a bug, you need to tell everyone to re-download the app, to kind of to update. So it has its own issues. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not about, I would say, time or cost. It's really about whether you want it, whether it's necessary. And if it's necessary, then yeah, definitely do it. But if it's not necessary, well, better to focus on the making S2O perfect and getting more assets, basically.
I think it is necessary. I think it's just a question of where do we put it in the priority list? How do we prioritize it? Because like you said, decentralizing the front end, the interface, right?
Yeah.
And I'm, guys, like I'm an unbanked bleeding heart. And like that for me, like what gets me excited about crypto is supporting those 6 billion people around the world who, share cell phone credits as money. You know what I mean? Like, and these people don't necessarily have computers, but they have cell phones, they have smartphones. And so, if this is a way for them to interact with THORChain, um, like we got to do it. And then on top of it, helps us decentralize the front end, right? So at minimum, if the website gets shut down for whatever reason, at least we got the mobile app going, right? And even if even if somebody downloads it, no one uses it, it's just part of the brand, right? It's just another way to stay in front of people, remind people we exist, we're there. So yeah, I'm kind of like, if it's cheap to do and not hard, just may as well do it. And like, if nobody ends up using it, well, a couple weeks of work, wasn't that, it's not that big of a risk, right? It's not that big of a waste. Um, so, and I agree with you about unless there's huge demand for a wallet, I think that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's reasons entire teams work just on a wallet because it's a lot of work, right? So um, yeah, I don't think it's necessary at this stage. Um, and that's because that's kind of been the promise of THORChain is that you don't need a new wallet. You can use your existing wallet. The only really need would be is if if wallets aren't supporting the actual Rune token or TCY, but more of them are, and it's coming out. And if we can use your new library file, if we can use that to help wallets support Rune, less need for us to develop our own wallet. So and that helps with decentralization. We have other wallets supporting us. So yeah, well, I mean, if somebody's listening, people listening, like you guys got to do this now. I'm like, I want to iron out some bugs on STO. This is, IBeK and I have been going over here the last week or two now. Where these guys are squashing out bugs. I'd rather get a lot of these bugs ironed out, and I still feel like we need a few more features done on the site. I don't know. We'll see. Every couple of weeks, IBeK and I review the priority list, see how it's going, what we're hearing from the community, any updates, changes being done to THORChain, and that shapes. We always readjust the priority. We're always kind of tweaking it. So um, so we'll see. But I think we got to make this happen. This mobile wallet for memoless. I think we got to. It's going. I should say. I think it's going to happen. It's gonna be a matter of when now.